Welcome to the Accenture Innovation Center in Essen. In this short video, we would like to showcase a solution based on more or less normal Wi-Fi, where we use devices like this to track assets, for example, vehicles or other equipment, or people inside the facility or inside buildings for safety and logistics purposes. Allow me first to give you an overview of the technical solution so that you have a better understanding of the different levels. At the very bottom, we have the devices themselves, which are connected through a wireless network using Wi-Fi to a management system that is responsible for managing the devices, processing the alerts, the positioning of the people or assets, and then linking to the top level, which are the management dashboards, the visualization, and potentially other control systems or similar other linked systems for further information. The underlying system that we have implemented here uses a Wi-Fi service called RTLS. That stands for Real-Time Location Services. There's a large number of access points in professional environments that support these kind of RTLS tracking. And we have here a system from Aruba, HPE Aruba, both with indoor and outdoor access points, and they're all available also with ATEX compliant devices that can be used in hazardous environments. The accuracy of the tracking is about 10 meters. That sounds not very much, but if you are in a large chemical facility or a refinery, 10 meters is actually pretty good. You can ideally use up to 3 or more access points with so-called triangulation to have the highest accuracy. If you only have one access point close by, it only identifies basically that you are close to that access point. For example, if you have a room, then you would install one access point in that room, and then the system would immediately log you in that you are in that room right now if you have a tracking device. And of course, this whole Wi-Fi infrastructure can be used for all kinds of Wi-Fi typical scenarios. So for example, for connected worker, with mobile devices, and any other handheld that can be used in the facility. The starting point for all of this was a device like this. This is a gas sensor as it is used in chemicals plants or in refineries. It gives a loud beeping noise when it detects that the person is in a potentially dangerous environment with toxic gases, for example. And the idea was, okay, it's fantastic that this system warns the worker that they potentially have a problem. But would it not be better if also the control room is informed that something is going on and where these people are right now that have a problem? Another device is this ATEX compliant tracker that is used for maintenance and inspection workers usually. It has the ability that you can peel off this hood here, and then under it there is an emergency button where you can call the control room in case of an issue or emergency. A few seconds later, the alarm in the control room sounds and informs the people in the control room where the location of the person is. And then they can, let me switch off the alarm here, then they can update corrective actions or send support or help to the person in distress. Another device here is a tracker that can be attached to, for example, a forklift or other vehicles. Or you could track objects like a container. Well, this is a very small one, which my colleague Gökay printed in 3D. But it includes here a small tracker that even has a temperature sensor built in that you can use for tracking the surrounding temperature close to the sensor here. And devices like these can be used to track vehicles, objects, containers, vessels, whatever, inside the site, inside the plant, inside the building, using Wi-Fi. So you don't need GPS for it. It always uses the Wi-Fi signal to identify the current location of where the person or the object is. The latest addition to the fleet of sensors is this device, which not only includes the Wi-Fi tracking, but it also includes a GPS. So in outside area, you can use both Wi-Fi and GPS for a more accurate tracking of the location of the staff. Allow me to illustrate the logistics part of the solution with this small 3D printed container as a representation. There's a small sensor inside, which would be usually attached to the container or the vessel. So I could initiate a pickup order of this container by simply moving it into a certain area of my production facility or outside the building. And again, don't forget, it's without GPS. It works just based on Wi-Fi. Or we're using a special sensor like we have it here. So I can just move over and get closer to this sensor here. There's also smaller versions of this. And this immediately initiates a pickup order inside the tracking system that is, in our case, immediately sent to ServiceNow to ask for a pickup of the container from that location. As soon as the container leaves the pickup zone, the system immediately sends out the information that it has been picked up. And this information is then, for example, sent to ServiceNow or SAP that the pickup has been completed. Originally, the system was developed for hospitals, where they also use the same technology to track, for example, the status of dialysis machines. So when a dialysis machine is in the patient's area, it's considered to be in use. So it has a status, for example, in SAP that it's currently in use. Is it being moved to a repair facility or cleaning facility, its status automatically is being assigned to in repair or to be cleaned. And if it's in the ready room or in the storage facility, its status would be changed to currently available. The management front end of the tracking solution allows to configure all these tags that are on sensors that are used, monitor the status, battery level, configure the sensors and associate specific alarms to them. You can also define blackout zones where no tracking is allowed. For example, due to data protection, you of course do not want to track the system somewhere in the public area. It's only meant for tracking of equipment and assets in the facility and if people are in dangerous areas. There is an abundance of different events that can be attached. So it can be pressing the button if a gas sensor identifies a problem, or if someone presses the emergency button. You can define an alarm, which we haven't done here, if the device is out of sight, so it hasn't been seen for a while, and if there's too many people in a certain area, for example, due to COVID reasons, you can also track that automatically in a trigger and alert, or things, if there's temperature sensors, you can automatically trigger an alarm. For example, in this case, if the temperature is too high, then you can also do that. Other elements are so-called escort trackers, where you can say that in a certain area, only two people together are allowed to be there. If one single person is tracked, it's then triggering an alarm. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are interested to learn more, we welcome you to the Essen Innovation Center of Accenture in the Zeche Zollverein in Essen in Germany. The description with the contact details can be found below.